Hello, I'm Damien from the Death Chronicles, and welcome back to, welcome to a little series I'm gonna call, um, Late Review. Late Review is going to be a series where I will take a game that is relatively new. Today's episode will be Andromeda. If you like it, leave a like below. But I'm going to rate it on 3 different categories. I'm going to rate it on soundtrack. I'm going to rate it on gameplay. I'm going to rate it on how well the game actually works. And I'm going to rate it based on the story. I will put my legitimate scores, like what I give it, up at the end. And I will review the game solely based upon my opinion and my opinion alone. It will not be anyone else's opinion will influence this. Yes, I will reference what other people have said to me in according of what I've said in my script earlier on. So I hope you all will enjoy it, and we'll see you all in the next episode thing that I do. Let's do this. Hello, I'm Damien. Hello, welcome to Late Review. I am Damien McLeod, and today we're going to be reviewing Mass Effect Andromeda. Andromeda takes place in the Andromeda Galaxy, where you are a completely new character, a completely new story, completely new, basically everything. Now, this game isn't bad. I'm not saying that it's absolutely horrible and BioWare should just give up and they should all kill themselves. No. What I'm saying is the game could use improvements all along, because right now I'm going to be reviewing gameplay side of things. This game, most of the glitches that you'll see are going to be from before the 1.5 update, which fixed 90% of the bugs and glitches that happened, which I'm glad that they see, which I've seen that they've done. Blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm gonna just say this now. Most of the characters can be summed up relatively quickly. Like Cora, she basically needs somebody to lead her. She's a follower, not a leader. And you'll learn that through her non-existent character arc, because they don't exist. And Vetra, the Turian, she clings on to the past tighter than I do my dick on a Friday night. And Liam, he's an optimist who, Thomas, when I was talking to him and said my earlier rendition of the script before I added this little bit, he said to me that, what about Liam? He is legitimately sending a car to the Andromeda Galaxy because I really didn't give a shit about Liam, Vetra, or the other characters. I really didn't give a shit about any of them, really, because none of them were interesting. Then you got Jal, the new alien, who likes tinkering with shit, and which is later revealed that he likes taking apart stuff. And the story has some relatively good moments in it. It's not really the best story there is, especially in comparison to the other Mass Effect games. Mass Effect 2 is a great example here. Mass Effect 2 has probably the best story. Now, don't quote me on that, and don't tell me that, oh, Mass Effect 3 has a better story. I never finished it, to be 100% honest. Mass Effect 1 was alright, but Mass Effect 3 I never finished. This game is virtually a soft reboot. Nothing about it is really concrete, and they want it to feel like a new game, but still a Mass Effect game. Now that all your powers are back to on separate cooldowns again, which was like that in Mass Effect 1, you're gonna hear a lot of comparisons to Mass Effect 1 here, and you got the Nomad, the Mass Effect Andromeda version of the Mako, or Mass Effect Andromeda version of the vehicle from that one vehicle from 2 that you had to buy DLC for, or get it for free with a Cerberus pack. That vehicle, I forget its name, don't quote me on its name and say I'm a fucking idiot because I couldn't remember the name, was... It was alright, it controlled well, better than the Mako. The soundtrack, it's alright. I'm just jumping from place to place. I haven't even finished introducing you to all the characters. I just realized. I skipped a massive part of the fucking script, of course I did. Joel, I already talked about him. You got PB, the Asari, who likes Remnant, I guess, and's got some issues with commitment. Who has a old lover, I guess, named Kalinda. They banged, okay? You got Drac, the older dude. He's a Krogan. He lives forever, basically. You got Callow, the pilot, who, well, is a pilot. You can't really say much about him because he doesn't really have that big of a story arc other than he hates Gil, who's a mechanic who lets things slide more than lube does with anal. Then you got the scientist, who's also a religious figure named Suvi. Her religion isn't really stated, so you can make some connections with Christianity there. The world design is absolutely phenomenal. They got that down pat. The multiplayer, which is something that I actually quite enjoyed in Mass Effect 3. It was really fun. I was a fan. It's more Mass Effect. The Mass Effect Andromeda version is more like 3, but with jump jets, and it's shorter and somewhat more difficult and easier in situations. But it's shorter. I wish it lasted longer than it actually does. In Andromeda, it went up to wave 10 in 11, if you count extraction. Wait, was it 10 or 11? 10 with extraction or 11 with extraction. But you got in 3 objectives, which you had to do every 3 rounds. In Mass Effect Andromeda, each objective is you only have to complete 2 objectives, which again is once every 3 rounds. And the round after the objective is extraction, or round 7. Mass Effect Andromeda is alright. Soundtrack is great. It sounds like it was legitimately composed with some relative decency. Glitches, though. Glitches galore. Music sometimes playing at wrong times. I've experienced an issue where the combat music was still playing even in the ship. The combat music should not be playing when you're inside the Tempest. There are loyalty missions which just seem to have been slapped in there, like somebody was making the game and realized, oh shit, we forgot a reason to put in loyalty missions. We'll just make it so that the characters can't use their powers unless they are, or get their powers to level 6 unless their loyalty mission is complete. Which, the loyalty mission for the characters that I actually used on missions didn't show up for me until after I beat the story. Now, the story, its ending's a big go fuck yourself. It really is. It sets it up perfectly for a sequel, and you expect to learn more about the Remnant. Go, oh hey, look at these mysteries of the Remnant. Wanna know why the Archon was doing what he was doing? Yeah, you're not finding that out at the end. Legitimately. You're not finding it out at the end. The game just gives you the ye old go fuck yourself and have a nice day. And why the Archon does what he does? Fuck, I don't know. Killed him, though. He's dead now. but he does have a little sock puppet apparently that at the end looks at the camera super pissed. There are super points. Yeah, fucking great. There are points of the story where legitimately you go, oh, well that's pretty neat, and continue on and nothing's ever said about them again. Like how I'm just gonna say out one. Like how the Chosen, the basic grunt enemy, is of the cat, is basically is the Angara, the new race. And like there are a couple missions where it's referenced here and there after that point, but after that point it's just oh yeah, go fuck yourself. When you create your character as well, you can easily create monstrosities. Because unlike in Mass Effect, the main trilogy, unlike the trilogy, that's what it's going to be known from here on out with me. Unlike the trilogy, you couldn't put makeup and stuff on your character. Or at least male Shepard. I don't know about female, I didn't really play around with them. I didn't decide to fuck around with the customization. And the characters really aren't that great. Half the time of my character, I can't tell if it's a facial animation bug or what I've done with my character's cheekbones that are causing my character's face to contort. It's weird, really is. There's a point in facial animations where it gets to the point where they look better and better, and then goes to outright creepy, and then gets better and better. Andromeda has been put in the creepy, uncanny valley of looking realistic. With facial animations, we are very far away to making them look relatively good. Or, well, relatively realistic. And people don't fucking say, oh, what about the Uncharted series? Yeah, they have some pretty realistic facial animations. But they're not exact. If you look at Nathan Drake talking, his tongue isn't really quite up to sync with what he's saying. His mouth is not as moving as a real human face. You can't see his cheeks go in and out when he talks, making the S or T sound, where you have to like crunch your cheeks up and make that sound. You can't see that. I mean, it's simulated, but you kinda can't do that with our current technology. So, all in all, I'll give Andromeda a total of, I'm gonna be rating this out of 100. Basically a percent. 100% is absolutely zero flaws. The game is perfect. There is nothing that can't be improved. Is a 100. And a 1 is, or I'm going to go with 0 as the lowest. And 0 is the game doesn't work. The game needs a metric fuck ton of improvements before it can even be remotely touchable. But all in all, Andromeda's total value would be an 85. It could still use some work, but all in all, it's a really good game. Would I recommend buying it? If you're a fan of the Mass Effect series, I would recommend you go and buy the game. Or if you were always interested in the Mass Effect series or franchise at this point, then I'd also recommend picking up the game here. But you won't know what's going on. You should play the trilogy first. It's backwards compatible on the Xbox One, and if you buy PlayStation Now, you might be able to stream it. or just go play it on Origin through the PC, or the first one on Steam, because that exists. Those are better games, well, except for maybe 3 in terms of story and 1 in terms of actual gameplay. But those are better games all in all. With the soundtrack of Mass Effect Andromeda, I would give it a 90 out of 100. It could still use some work, I know, but gameplay-wise, it is great. Gameplay is where this game strives. Gameplay is a solid 89 out of 100. Now, story. It is lacking. The characters are boring and uninteresting, and the female and male rider, if you compare them to the actual characters, and I'm not gonna really mention how their hair looks like fucking Lego pieces. And another thing is with all fucking characters, they aren't interesting. Their stories bore you. You don't really know what's gonna happen, and you don't really care about them. I want a game where I can actually care about what's gonna happen to my characters, but Andromeda can't give that to me. So all in all, in terms of story, it's getting a 70. I can't give it any higher because the story is lacking at best and absolute trash at worst. And the characters, in terms of their design, the female version looks like she was before the 1.5 patch. She looks like she was hit with in the face with a frying pan, fell down the ugly tree, and was proceeded to be beaten to death by it. Well, male rider looks like he fucking shaved some pubes and super glued them to his face. They don't look visually appealing. But you know, this is where I'm gonna have to end the review. I'm gonna edit it down, add everything else. And this might be uploaded at the end of the week at the time of me recording my audio. Goodbye.